Morning to everyone. This is Reshmi, working as an assistant professor in Emmanuel Urso JJ College of Engineering. So now we are here to know about what is farm ponds. So this is a simple picture of the farm pond. A farm pond is nothing but a place where the water is stored for any other purposes like agricultural purpose or for any household uses and for any many other purposes. Let's move on to the definition of the farm pond. Farm pond is nothing but it is a small man-made water storage structure constructed within or adjacent to agricultural land for collecting and storing surface runoff, rainwater or groundwater with the primary purpose of providing water for irrigation, livestock, aquaculture, domestic farm needs, groundwater recharge, and other agricultural operations during the periods of water scarcity. So, when there is an water scarcity, the farm ponds may be used. So, more specifically, a farm pond is designed to intercept excess rainfall and runoff from a catchment area and store it for later use, so thereby improving the water availability, increasing cropping intensity, reducing dependence on seasonal rainfall, and promoting sustainable agricultural production. And it is generally small in size when compared with reservoirs and dams, and also it is constructed on individual farms or community lands. Water may be stored either by excavation, embankment, construction, or combination of both. So, here the water may be stored by excavation, embankment, construction, or a combination of both. The stored water is used for supplemental irrigation and multiple farm purposes. It serves as an important soil and water conservation measures in rain-fed agricultural regions. In agricultural engineering, a farm pond is often considered an integral component of rainwater harvesting system and on-farm water management practices. So, this is the definition for the farm ponds, and I hope you can all understand about the definitions. Now, let's move on to the objectives of the farm ponds. So, some of the objectives are: it is to store rainwater and surface runoff for use during dry periods and drought conditions, to provide supplemental irrigation to crops when rainfall is insufficient and thereby increasing crop yield and cropping intensity, to ensure water availability for livestock and other farm operations throughout the year, to promote the aquaculture and fish farming, providing an additional source of income to farmers, to reduce soil erosion and runoff losses by capturing excess water from agricultural feeds, to improve groundwater recharge by allowing seepage of stored water into underground aquifers, and to increase farm productivity and income through efficient utilization of available water resources, to serve as an emergency water source for activity such as firefighting and drought mitigation, to facilitate integrated farming system combining crop production, livestock rearing, and fisheries, to promote sustainable water management and rainwater harvesting, reducing dependence and rainwater harvesting reducing dependence on external water resources. So the primary objective of a farm pond is to conserve and efficiently utilize water resources for improving agricultural productivity and ensuring sustainable farming practices. It also provides protective irrigation during dry spell, store excess runoff from agricultural fields, ensure life-saving irrigation at critical crop stages. It is to supply water for livestock and poultry, support fish culture, and farm income, reduce runoff velocity and soil erosion. It also improves the groundwater recharge indirectly. It enables multiple cropping and increase yield. These are some of the objectives of the farm ponds where the water may be stored. So next we move on to types of farm ponds. There are three types of farm ponds. So first one is dugout farm pond or excavator farm pond. The dugout farm pond is also called as excavator farm pond. And next one is embankment pond, and the last one is dug cum embankment pond or excavator cum embankment farm. First, let's we move on to dug out pond or excavator farm pond, and this is a simple picture denoting the three types of farm pond in a single picture. So first is dugout farm pond. It is constructed by excavating soil only. It is suitable for flat or gently sloping land. Storage is below ground level, and it is also common in black soil areas. And farm pond, excavated farm pond is also constructed by digging out soil from relatively flat or gently sloping land. The excavated earth may be spread around the pond or used to form small pond. Some of the characteristics of the excavated farm pond is constructed mainly by excavation. It is also suitable for flat areas with low land slabs. Water is stored below the original ground surface, usually receives water from field runoff or groundwater seepage. These are some of the characteristics of excavated farm pond. And next, advantages. So if there is if there is a characteristics of pond, then there also may advantages. So some of the advantages are less risk of embankment failure, lower maintenance requirement, can be constructed where natural depression are absent. Even if there is an advantages, and there may be also an disadvantages. High excavation costs in hard soils, limited storage capacity unless dug deeper. Seepage losses may occur in permeable soils. Some of the uses of embankment pond. So, supplemental irrigation, fish culture, livestock watering. These are some of the uses of an embankment pond. So, this is the picture of the dugout pond or excavator pond. Here, the space acquired by the water is very low, and when we dug out the pond, there the underground water may get stored. So, I hope you understand from this picture about the excavator pond. Next is an embankment farm pond. So it is constructed by building an earthen bund across a natural drainage line. It is suitable for sloping or undulating land, stores water partially above the ground level. An embankment pond is also formed by constructing an earthen dam or embankment across a natural drainage line or depression to impound runoff. So here also some of the characteristics for the embankment farm pond. Water is stored partly or completely above the ground level, suitable for rolling and hilly terrains, requires a natural catchment area for runoff collections. So here for embankment pond also there is an advantages. There are three advantages based on their characteristics. The first is a large storage capacity. It has a large storage capacity, but the excavation work is very less. So the second point is less excavation work, suitable for regions with a considerable runoff. It is suitable for the regions which has a considerable runoff. So some of the disadvantages is possibility of embankment failure, requires spillway construction, higher maintenance and safety considerations. And some of the uses is so even if there is advantages, disadvantages and characteristics, there may be also some of the uses. So the uses of embankment pond is irrigation storage, community water supply, and fisheries. These are some of the uses of an embankment pond. So let's move on to this is an embankment pond where some of the walls are constructed for the easy way to take off the water. It is useful for the agricultural areas. So some the slope is made for to run off the water to the field areas, so the agricultural land may get cultivated. So I hope you understand from the picture about the pond. So next is excavator cum embankment pond. So it is a combination of excavation and embankment. Most economically and commonly used, reduces earthwork cast. So excavator cum embankment pond is nothing, and it is a type of combines excavation and embankment construction. Part of the storage is created by excavation and the remaining storage by raising embankments. So characteristics, here also there is a characteristics for an excavator cum embankment pond. It is suitable for gently sloping lands, provides greater storage capacity than purely excavated ponds. So the last point is excavated soil is used for the bund construction and the advantages. So here also there is three advantages for the excavator cum embankment pond. First is economical use of excavated soil, increased water storage, adaptable to various land conditions. So the disadvantages is requires careful design of embankments, moderate maintenance requirements. So even if there is an advantage, there may be also an disadvantages. Two types of advantages is present here. First is requires careful design of embankment. Second is a moderate maintenance requirements. So uses is irrigation in rain-fed agriculture, integrated farming system. These are the uses of an excavator cum embankment pond. So first is irrigation in rain-fed agriculture, integrated farming system, and the picture is nothing. It is a combination of two types, so they are nothing for the picture. And there is also an one type of one type of farm pond, that is lined farm pond. A lined farm pond is provided with an impermeable lining material such as clay, concrete, brick, masonry or plastic films to minimize seepage losses. So here also a characteristics constructed where soils are highly permeable, improves water retention efficiency. So these are the characteristics of the lined farm ponds. Next is types of lining. Clay lining, brick or stone masonry lining, concrete lining, plastic or geomembrane lining. So here also an advantages, greatly reduces seepage losses, ensure longer water availability, suitable for water scarce regions. So disadvantages is higher initial cost, lining may require repair or replacement. These are the disadvantages for the excavator cum embankment plant. So uses drip and sprinkler irrigation system. For drip and sprinkler irrigation system, it may be used high value crop cultivation and areas with sandy or gravelly soils. So here it may also be classified under the water resources into two types. So first one is runoff farm pond and the second one is spring or groundwater fed ponds. The runoff farm ponds is nothing but these ponds are collect and store surface runoff from surrounding catchment areas. So spring or groundwater fed pond is nothing but it is to receive water from springs or groundwater seepage and generally contain water for a longer period. These are about the types of the farm ponds. So mainly there are three types of farm ponds. First is excavator farm pond, second one is embankment farm pond, Third is nothing but a combination of excavated and embankment. So it is named as excavated cum embankment farm pond. And there may be also a lined farm ponds, but it is not a very big important matter, important farm ponds. So it may be a small farm ponds. Next, let's move on to a components of farm ponds. Catchment. So some of the components are catchment area, inlet structure, silt trap or sedimentation chamber, pond basin, embankments, freeboard, spillway, outlet or draw off structure, protective works, lining. So now we just move on to a deep explanation about each and every components of a farm pond. Farm ponds, their requirement, their components, their functions, their requirements, their futures, etc. So first one is catchment area. The catchment area is the land area from which rainfall runoff flows into the pond. Functions. Some of the functions of a catchment area is collect rainwater and surface runoff, determines the quantity of water entering the pond. So the requirements of the catchment area is adequate size and slope, protected against excessive soil erosion. So second one is pond basin. The pond basin is the excavated or enclosed portion where water is stored, and the function is stores water for irrigation and other farm uses, provides sufficient storage capacity during dry periods, and the features is proper depth and side slopes may be lined to reduce seepage losses. These are the features of the pond basins. And next is embankment or bund form embankment. So embankment and other name is the bund farm ponds. So embankment farm pond is the earthen structure constructed around or across the pond to retain water. Functions is increase storage capacity, prevent escape of stored water. So the requirement is adequate height and width, proper compaction to ensure stability. So this is the third part of an components of farm pond. And the next one is inlet structure. The inlet structure is the arrangement through which runoff enters the pond. So the functions for the inlet structure is directs water safely into the pond, direct the water safely into the pond, reduce erosion at the entry point. And the common structure is diversion channels. It diverts the channels. The pipes or stone pitched inlets. The second point is the pipes or stone pitched inlets. So the next one is spillway. It is also named as waste weir. Spillway or waste weir. The spillway is a structure provided to discharge excess water safely when the pond becomes full. When the pond becomes full, it allows the water to move out from the dam through the spillway. So it is called a spillway or waste weir. So functions protects overtopping and failure of embankment, control flood water. So there are also three types of spillways: earthen spillway, masonry spillway, and pipe spillway. So the next is outlet structure. So outlet structure, if there is an inlet structure, then there may be also an outlet structure. So it is also named as draw off structure, outlet or draw off structure. The outlet is used to withdraw stored water from the pond. So the functions is supplies water for irrigation and other uses. The outlet structure, so when the water enters into the farm pond from by inlet, then it exists through the outlet structure for the purpose of irrigation or any other agricultural uses, helps in controlled release of water. So the examples are pipe outlets, pumping arrangement, sluice gates. So these are the examples of a outlet structure, one of the components of farm pond. The next is freeboard. Freeboard is the vertical distance between the maximum water level and the top of the embankment. So the function is provides safely against wave action and unexpected inflows, prevent overtopping of the bund. And lining is just an optional compound, not an important compound. So lining is provided when the soil is highly permeable. So what are the materials used for the lining is clay, concrete, brick masonry, plastic membrane. So in plastic membrane, HDPE and PVC material is used. The function is it minimizes the seepage losses, it improves the water use efficiency. So the next is silt trap or sedimentation chamber, basin or anything else. A silt trap is constructed at the inlet side. So the functions is prevent sedimentation from entering the pond, increase the effective life and storage capacity of the pond. So the next is protective works. So protective works is nothing. It includes the turfing or grass cover on embankment, stone pitching, fencing around the pond. Some of the functions of the protective work is prevent erosion of embankment, improves safety and durability. These are the protective work. So these components are work together to ensure the efficient water harvesting, safe storage and effective utilization of water in agricultural operations. So these are the some of the points for the components of farm ponds. Once again, the repeating is the first is catchment area, inlet structure, silt trap or sedimentation chamber, pond basin, embankment, freeboard, spillway, outlet or draw of structure, protective works, lining. So the last one is a lining. Lining is just an optional compound. It is not a main component. So the next part is design of farm ponds. So design of farm ponds is nothing but the estimation of water requirements, estimation of runoff, estimation of the pond capacity, shape of pond, depth of pond, slide slopes, freeboard, spillway designs. So there are 8 types of designs included in the farm pond. Let's move on to the step by step procedures of the farm ponds, and there are also some of the objectives. So objective of design, it is designed to store adequate water for irrigation and other farm needs, to minimize the seepage and evaporation losses. It is to ensure stability and safety of the embankment. It is to provide proper inlet and spillway arrangement. So now let's some of the factors also affecting the design of the farm pond. I just give it in a short note. First is rainfall characteristics. It allows the amount, intensity and the distribution of the rainfall. And the second is catchment characteristics. It catchment the area size, the land slope and vegetation cover, and the soil type and the runoff potential. So water requirement also affects. So that is for crop water requirement, number of irrigation required and the water needs for the livestock and the fisheries. So soil characteristics is nothing but it's to permeability and infiltrate the rate, stability and embankment of materials need for lining. So topography is for the flat land generally favors excavated pond, sloping land favors embankment ponds. So these are all the needs for the topography. So the next one is now let's go deep on about the design of the farm ponds by step. What are all the procedures used for the farm designing? What are all the formulas that we used to calculate the amount of construction materials, or all? Let's move deep into it. So first is the estimation of runoff yield. The quantity of runoff expected from the catchment is estimated. So how we can calculate the runoff yield? It is by using R is equal to C into P. So R is equal to runoff depth. It is calculated in millimeter. C runoff coefficient, and P is nothing but the rainfall amount. It is also calculated into So it is runoff yield, and for runoff volume, VR is equal to A into R divided by 1000. Here VR is equal to nothing but the runoff volume. A is equal to catchment area. For runoff volume, it is defined as meter cube, and for catchment area, it is denoted as meter square. The next is estimation of water requirement. First is estimation of the runoff water. The next is the estimation of water requirements. What are the requirements? So storage requirement is estimated from crop water needs. How the water is required is, it is estimated by the storage of the water. So VW is equal to AC into D. So here VW is equal to required storage. It is denoted by meter cube, and AC is equal to irrigated area. It is denoted by meter square, and D is explained as irrigation depth. It is denoted by meter. Next is the determination of pond capacity. How we able to determine the pond capacity? The required pond capacity is S is equal to VW plus L, where S is equal to storage capacity. It is calculated by meter cube. L is equal to losses due to seepage and evaporation. So generally an additional 15 to 30 percentage of the storage is provided to account for losses. By determining the pond capacity, it is to know that 15 to 30 percentage of the water is lost during the determination of the pond capacity. So the simple formula is S is equal to VW plus L. So the next is the selection of pond dimensions. So how we calculate the dimensions of the pond? It is also known as the shape of the pond. So farm ponds are usually rectangular or square. Normally the farm pond is rectangular or square in shape. So typical dimension, overall dimension is depth is 2 to 5 meter. Slope, if it is made with the clay soil, it is under the ratio 1:1 to 1.5:1, and if it is constructed using sandy soils, the ratio is 2:1 to 3:1. So if it is as a freeboard, 0 to 1.0 meter. Or storage volume for a hectacular pond, it is calculated by V is equal to H divided by 6 into A1 plus 4AM plus A2. So now we can denote it by H is equal to depth of pond. A1 is equal to top area, AM is equal to mid depth area, and A2 is equal to bottom area. So if we write it is in a simple calculation, V is equal to L into B into D, where L is nothing but it is a length, B is equal to width, D is equal to average water depth. Next is an design of embankment. So design of embankment is, first we move on to a top width. Usually it has a constant value. T is equal to 1.0 to 3.0 meter. If the height of the bunt is the estimated value is H is equal to D plus F, where D is equal to the water depth and F is equal to freeboard. So the last step is spillway design. The spillway should safely pass excess runoff. Small farm ponds generally use the earthen spillway. pipe spillway, masonry waterways. The spillway capacity is determined from the peak runoff rates of the catchment. So there are 8 steps used for the design of the farm pond, and there may be some of the considerations. There are 5 consideration. Just overlook about the consideration of the design. Minimize the seepage losses by compaction or lining. It provides a stable side slopes, ensures easy access for desilting and maintenance. It protects the embankment with grass turfing or stone pitching. It locates the pond where maximum runoff can be collected economically. So these are some of the consideration for the design of the farm ponds. So the design of a farm ponds involves the determining of runoff availability, water demand, storage capacity, pond dimension, embankment dimension, and spillway requirements to provide an economical and reliable source of water for agricultural purposes. So now let's look on to a small overview of the design of farm ponds. The first one is estimation of water requirement, estimation of runoff, farm pond capacity, shape of pond, depth of pond, side slope, freeboard, spillway design. There are 8 steps for the design of the farm pond. Now just we move on to the construction of the farm pond. So there are step by step constructions: survey and layout, clearing and excavation, foundation preparation, embankment construction, construction of inlet and spillway, lining of the pond, turfing and protection, outlet installation. So these are some of the construction of the farm ponds. So first let's move on to a deep explanation about the construction of the farm pond. First we need to select the site. A site selection is based on an adequate catchment area and runoff availability, impermeable or less permeable soil, gentle slope and stable foundation, proximity to agricultural field to reduce conveyance losses, availability of construction material and accessibility. So the second one is survey and layout, contour survey of site, mark pond area, embankment, spillway and inlet. It also conduct the topographic and soil surveys, determine pond dimensions, storage capacity and alignment, mark the boundaries, inlet and outlet and spillway location on the ground. So the next is clearing and excavation, remove vegetation, roots and topsoil, excavate the pond basin or borrow area. So it also removes trees, bushes, weeds, stumps and debris. Strip the top organic soil layer from the construction area level and prepare the foundation for the clearing. So clearing and excavation is nothing but the clearing of the area for the construction of the dam. Next is foundation, excavation of farm ponds, excavation of pond basin, excavate the pond according to the design dimension and side slopes. Excavate may be carried out manually or using machinery such as excavators and bulldozers. The excavated soil is often used for embankment construction. Some of the recommended side slope is if it is a clay soils, it is as 1 is to 1 to 1.5 is to 1. If it is a sandy soil, it is defined as 2 is to 1 to 3 is to 1. So foundation preparation, it dig the cut off trench below the embankment filled with the impervious soil and the compact. So next is the construction of the embankment, which place the excavated soil in layers of 15 to 20 centimeter and construct in layers of 50 to 20 centimeter proper content for compaction. Use rollers or manual compaction. Use rollers or the manual compaction. Construction of the inlet and construction of inlet and the spillways. Construction of an inlet and the spillway line inlet. The some of the construction of line inlet with some pitchings. Constructions of the embankment place excavated soil in layers of 15 to 20 centimeter thickness. Compact each layer properly to increase stability and reduce seepage. Construct the bund to the required height, including the freeboard. Some of the important features in the embankment construction is adequate the top width, proper side slope, uniform compaction. So the construction of the inlet structure is construct channels or pipes to direct the runoff into the pond, provide stone pitching or protection at the inlet to prevent erosion, install a silt trap if necessary. So some of the construction of spillway, the spillway safely disposes of excess water. So some of the requirements is located at a suitable point on the embankment, sized to pass peak runoff safely, protected against erosion by stone pitching or masonry lining. The next is lining of the pond. If it is required for the construction, we can be used it as a main purpose. Where seepage losses or high lining materials may be used. Compacted clay lining, brick or store masonry, cement concrete lining, plastic or geomembrane lining. So here also the plastic or geomembrane lining is based on HDPE or PVC. Apply chosen lining material. So chosen lining material is HDPE or PVC. Ensure joints as watertight. Protect plastic lining with the soil cover. The lining is also laid carefully to prevent the leakage and the drainage. So the outlet arrangement. Outlet arrangement means outlet installation. Outlet installation is nothing but here in the middle of that there are also a turfing and a protection. So how we protect turfing? Grass turfing or embankment slope, stone pitching or vulnerable areas. And at last is the outlet arrangement. So outlet arrangement is nothing but is to install pipes, sluices or pumping arrangements for water withdrawal, ensure constructed release of stored water for irrigation. And the last is the protective measures. So provide gas turfing on embankment slopes. Use stone pitching where erosion risk is very high, and it is to fence the pond to prevent damage by the animals. Construct drainage channels around the drainage channels around the pond if it is necessary. So filling and testing is allow the here also we can move on to filling and testing for the construction of the farm pond. Allow the pond to fill gradually during the rainy season. Inspect embankments, spillway and lining for the seepage or settlement. Repair any defects before the regular uses. So what are all the maintenance after construction? How we can maintain it? We can just move on to a simple notes for the maintenance after the construction. Remove the deposited silt periodically. Repair the cracks, erosion and damaged lining. Maintain vegetation cover on embankment. Keep inlet and spillway structure free from the obstruction. The construction of a farm pond requires a proper planning, careful excavation, adequate compaction of embankment, and provision of suitable inlet, outlet, spillway, and protective structure to ensure efficient and long-term storage of water for the agricultural use. So next we are move on to the main topic, that is protection of the farm pond. So protection of the farm pond is nothing protection against erosion, seepage control, embankment protection, spillway protection, and safety measures. Embankment protection: the pond should be protected against erosion caused by rainfall, runoff, and wave action. Some of the methods for the embankment protection is proper compaction of the embankment soil, maintaining recommended side slopes, periodic inspection and repair of cracks and the settlement. So next is turfing or grass cover. Grass is planted on the side slopes and crest of the band. So some of the advantages is prevents soil erosion. It stabilizes the embankment slopes. It improves the appearance and durability. Common grasses used include doob grass and vetiver grass. The next is the protected one is stone pitching. Stone pitching is provided on slopes exposed to wave action and high runoff, protects bund slopes from scouring, prevents erosion during heavy rainfall, increase the stability of the embankment. The next is seepage control. Excessive seepage reduces water storage and may weaken the embankment. Some of the methods are proper compaction of the soil, clay puddling, uses of impervious lining. What are all the impervious lining? Clay lining, cement concrete lining, HDPE or PVC geomembrane lining. So the next is silt control measures. So sediment entering the pond reduces its storage capacity. Protective measures include construction of silt trap at inlet, vegetative barriers in the catchment areas, contour putting, and terracing in upstream areas, periodic desilting of the pond. So in spillway protection, the spillway should be protected to safely dispose of excess runoff, measure stone pitching or masonry lining, proper sizing of the spillway capacity, regular removal of the obstruction. So fencing is just provided around the pond for the maintenance. So function prevents entry of livestock and wild animals, reduces the damage to embankment and lining. It also improves the safety, especially for the children. So the fencing is just for a safety purpose. Control of adequate weeds. Adequate weeds is nothing but to uh, unwanted grasses that grown around the pond. Excessive growth of weeds increases water loss through evapotranspiration. So methods to remove the weeds are mechanical removal, biological control, safe use of approved herbicides where appropriate. The catchment area protection. Proper management of the catchment reduces erosion and sedimentation inflow. It measures some of the measures are afforestation and vegetative cover, contour farming, check dams, and gully plugs. The last is the last for the protection of farm pond is regular inspection and maintenance. Periodic inspection should be carried out to detect the cracks and settlements in bunds, seepage and the leakage, damage to lining, blockage of inlet and the spillway. These are some of the protection of the farm ponds. I hope you all understand the farm pond level. Just move on to a summary of the protection of farm ponds. Protection against erosion, seepage control, embankment protection, spillway protection, safety measures, and so on is for the protection of the farm ponds. So this last regular inspection and maintenance is we need to keep safeguard the pond for the way for various times. So we need to regularly inspect and to maintain the ponds very carefully under the control of the government or some of any other. So turfing and stone pitching, compaction and lining, silt traps and catchment treatment, proper spillway design, fencing, periodic weed control. These are all the protection measures. So what are the problem caused? Bund erosion, seepage losses, sedimentation, overtopping, animal damage, weed growth. These are all the problems that affect the pond. So some of the protection measures that we come through these. So now the protection of a farm pond involves the erosion control, seepage prevention, sediment management, spillway protection, fencing and regular maintenance. These are some of the protection of the farm ponds. We just keep it in your mind and maintain the farm pond with a proper measures. So these measures ensures a safe operation, reduce water losses and enhance the efficiency and longevity of the farm ponds, so that we can uses these farm ponds for various purposes. So the farm ponds may also be used for irrigation during dry periods, livestock watering, fish farming. Even if anybody are on the aquaculture side, the fish farming is basically used for various measures: groundwater recharge, emergency water supply during droughts. When they save the water through the ponds, it is also useful in the emergency time. And the soil and water conservation, some of the advantages is increase crop production by ensuring water availability, reduces dependence on rainfall. So we don't need to depend on the rainfall for all hours, help control soil erosion and runoff, can provide the additional income through fish culture. So also limitations. Initial construction costs can be high. Some of the pond size may be range from 10 meter into 10 meter into 2 meter to 30 meter into 30 meter into 3 meter, depending on the rainfall, catchment area and the irrigation requirements. So there are also limitations. It requires a regular maintenance and desilting, water loss through the evaporation and seepage, initial cost and the can be high. So these are all the types of ponds. Here we just talk about the farm ponds and its protection, construction, and what are all the protective measures we have to take. I hope you all understand about the farm ponds. So thank you all.